I'm Stephen Runge, Director of the School of Art and Dean of the Desautels Faculty of Music, and I am honored to be reading this citation today. The highest distinction the Senate of a university can confer upon an individual is an honorary doctorate. At the University of Manitoba, the criteria include distinguished achievement in scholarship, the arts, or public service. Our honorary graduate this afternoon is Dr. Mary Kerr. A visionary artist, designer, and educator, Dr. Mary Kerr has earned international acclaim as one of Canada's preeminent theatre creators. For more than 4 decades, she has transformed the worlds of theatre, ballet, opera, film, television, and special events with her conceptually innovative and striking designs. Winnipeg-born, Dr. Kerr spent much of her youth backstage in the Playhouse Theatre and teaching in her mother's dance studio. Graduating from the University of Manitoba with a Bachelor of Fine Arts honors in sculpture and literature, she pursued graduate studies in the Medieval Centre at the University of Toronto. There, while designing several fantastical student productions, she realized the world of theatre was where she could combine all the arts she loved. Dr. Kerr has designed for leading companies including the Stratford Festival, the Shaw Festival, the Canadian Opera Company, the National Ballet of Canada, the Danny Grossman Dance Company, and the Paris Opera Ballet. Her innovative design was shared with the world in Expo 67, Expo 86, and the opening and closing ceremonies of the 1994 Commonwealth Games. Internationally recognized, Dr. Kerr is the only theatre designer to be elected a Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada and is a member of the Royal Canadian Academy of Arts. An inspiring design educator and mentor, Dr. Kerr has guided generations of students who now contribute to theatre and performance art across Canada and beyond. Dr. Kerr has also collaborated with Indigenous communities and championed equity for women production designers in Canadian theatre art. Mr. Chancellor, it is an honor for me to ask, on behalf of the Senate of the University of Manitoba, that you confer upon Dr. Mary Kerr the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, for her remarkable achievements in performance design, her leadership in advancing the art of Canadian scenography, and her enduring commitment to mentorship and collaboration.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as Chancellor of this university, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights and privileges thereto appertaining.
I will now invite Dr. Mary Kerr to address Convocation.
Hello, everyone. I'm sort of in theater, so I'm kind of interested in who my audience is. Who's in the art school? Okay. Who's in education? Who's in music? Who's in is it teacher's college? Teacher's education? Who's the rest of you? Arts, thank you. Who's in arts? Okay, all right. And welcome, everybody. Dear University of Manitoba, I thank you for sending me on my life journey in 1966, a graduate of the art school. And I thank you for your generous introduction that welcomes me home today. I'm always taken aback when I hear a listing of what the world calls life accomplishments. As is often the case in making art and making life, you never feel like you've done enough or that it was only your doing, as you have so many that have helped you along the way. I love these prairies. I was born here. Winnipeg created me. It made my heart. It's home to so many of us before who have dreamed large in this land. Our vast blue skies and northern lights, a lot of the pictures we were just seeing, nature's cyclorama for the greatest show on earth, cumulus clouds, endless prairie and sunshine, and tenacious, stubborn scrub oaks like Manitobans. All this nourished my body, my mind, and my spirit. I loved deep winter snow and would lie on my back and stare at the night sky until I managed to travel between the stars to see further. Have you ever seen so many stars? Sharing ideas through words, music, images, movement, and design is my thing. So here are a few ideas from a lifetime. Maybe they'll help. My old friend John Candy used to love to quote Einstein. Hard to believe, but John was one of the more intelligent people I'd ever met. Creativity is just intelligence having fun. That's good from a comedian, you know? I mean, drawing, the blank page that Paul Klee used to talk about, where the line is going for a walk, has always fascinated me. Our lives are like the moving line in a drawing, where we take our soul for a walk with no real idea of where we will end up. I make my marks, says David Hockney. It's a very human need to record our existence. We share close kinship with those ancient artists who left their handprints on the walls of the cave. That always has moved me to tears. Georgia O'Keeffe, the great woman artist, painter from the States, lived in the Mexico area. To create one's own world takes courage, and that's where you're off to now, to create your own world. So let's talk about body, spirit, and mind. If you want, your life can be your most significant creation if you let it take you for a walk. Body. As an undergraduate, I existed in two different worlds, very different worlds. They even required different costumes. In the morning, I was a scholar at St. John's College with academic courses in my black gown and high heels and jewelry. In the afternoon, I would bus downtown to the art school, which was in the old law courts buildings, behind the prison, and there, dressed in paint-spattered jeans and runners, my dad's big shirt and a bandana, I put form to ideas and found my real home. It's wonderful when we find our home. Mind. My days were just packed. At St. John's, Dr. Judy Flynn's amazing English lit classes opened my imagination and trained me to think conceptually so I could hold my own with the director. Reb Zalman Schachter's seminars explored spirit, and George Swinton introduced us to experiments in form, color, and Inuit art. In 1964, there were few role models for a woman sculptor and no female teachers at the school. But Professor John Daniels, a Vietnam draft dodger, was there, and he pushed me. Joey Fafard, Ron Gabe of General Idea, and Bill Lobchuk were classmates. Spirit. A lasting memory is watching my teacher, the amazing painter Ivan Eyre, burst into our first-year drawing class, straight from working in his studio. I could see that he had not yet returned to the real world of our classroom. I remember his eyes. First year, I remember his eyes, still lost in some creative dimension that I had not yet traveled to. I knew I wanted to have eyes like his, but how? I'm sure you have teachers like this. I hope you do. I pray you do. Our teachers invite us to stand on their shoulders, to see further, and as a Buddhist teacher once told me, all teachers can ever teach us is who they really are, not facts. Another thought, do not believe in too many rules or facts. That way lies madness. Break out of the prison of what your role on the world stage should be. Trust your instincts and not some code of conduct laid down by our culture, our parents, our peers, or your own past choices, however loving and well-meaning they are. Sharing a beautiful, new, controversial idea will usually be questioned, so you need to be brave. I love this quote from John Cage, the musical experimenter. He said, "I can't understand why people are frightened of new ideas. I'm frightened of old ones," which I think is a especially good thing. Favorite saying of my mother, the old dance teacher, sports person, "Dear, lots of people have talent, but what you also need is luck. And when the luck hits, you need discipline, technique, and talent to back it up." So no easy pass cards here. You actually need the 10,000 hours to make whatever you're going to do work, right? One of my long ago mentors, and I had a lot of friends, they're over 500 years old, wrote, and this is Leonardo da Vinci, "People of accomplishment rarely sit back and let things happen to them. They go out and they happen to things." Then there is the question of rightness. When you know in your deepest soul that you are where you need to be, doing what you need to do, whatever it might be, trust that feeling. That's precious. That's surety. It's how you know that whatever you're doing is right and enough. Don't listen to others. I hope you will also know in life, art or love, it's all really the same thing, when you meet other travelers from your tribe and you feel that rightness, treasure them and keep them in your life. Story. In 1983, when returning from a theater design competition in Prague, something told me to detour to Athens, even though I had to rush back to a show at the Shaw Festival. On the second day, up on the Acropolis, talking to Athena and sketching away, I met my future husband, a New Zealand architect, who was also traveling around the world, and he had his sketchbook and he was sketching. Be open to those surprising moments when you turn left and not right. Oh, and this is really, really key. Do not waste your time on anything or that demands that you be less than you really are. Just walk away. That's the biggest thing I learned all my life. Don't waste time. Don't waste time with people that do not treasure you. Today, you have access to a world of information. At the click of a button, we all do. Cyberspace is seductive and exciting and easy, but consider this. The world inside you is where your truest creativity will happen. On that inner stage, you will rehearse and remake yourself to become your own work of art if you're lucky. We now live in a global village, all performing on the same world stage. There's no backstage wings to hide in. We are each other's brother's keeper. Canadian culture is under assault. How do we create a Canadian identity and support the voices and the visions of our artists, our teachers, our scientists, everybody? There are so many of our major arts organizations still run by non-Canadians. Why is that? How do we give each other a chance to create our own voice? Why, for the last number of years in your faculties, you bumped up against ideas and all the discursive wisdom in the world that your teachers could give you. Now is the time to test those ideas in the world. Out you go. Marcia McLuhan, the media philosopher, Winnipeg, and a former Winnipegger, did you know that? And my former teacher would say, the artist is the early warning system of a culture. How interesting. What can that mean? It means speak up. To help the world prosper and survive, whatever voice your art, You all have art and creativity. Yell if necessary. Sound any alarm you can. Do not be afraid. Picasso said, "I paint what I think, not what I see." So last thoughts. I wish you a wonderful career and a lifetime of sharing ideas, compassion, and art with the world. But please, keep a sense of humor. I know that Winnipeg can build strong people, strong artists, strong thinkers. So whether you were born here, moved here, or came here to study, roll up your sleeves and create a world that you, and as you said, our ancestors, will want to live in. Make this incarnation count. And one last quote. I love quotes. I've collected them all my life, sorry. An Oscar Wilde one, actually. Be yourself because everyone else is already taken. Thank you for this great honor, and thank you for inviting me home.